From the Smith Center in Chapel Hill, this is TarHillIllustrated.com. I'm THI staff writer Jacob Turner, and alongside me, as he always is, THI publisher Andrew Jones. Andrew, about maybe a little over an hour ago, we saw Carolina in this building lose to Georgia Tech 96-83. And AJ, I think I'm going to ask you this question. I think the vibe, for me at least, in the locker room afterwards, talking to the players, not in the locker room, the players' lounge, I should say, hearing Roy's press conference, it seems like right now is a bit of a low point for this team this season. We've seen some stretches against Wofford. Was it a 16-0 run for Wofford?
16-0.
We saw Gonzaga. We saw some really bad things against Gonzaga as well.
18 of 20 from the floor in the second half of one stretch, Gonzaga. Yeah.
And then to just hit on one of the things that happened today, Carolina 0 for 15 from the floor to start the game. AJ, is this the low point for this team right now?
16-0 at home to Wofford is pretty bad.
Yeah.
Allowing 18 of 20 from the floor for Gonzaga in that stretch is pretty bad.
Pretty bad.
The rebounding against Ohio State is pretty bad.
Yep.
You know, this has competition.
Yeah, it definitely.
Which is kind of the more of the story. This was a horrible game in just about every way. Side note, Garrison Brooks,
yeah, he played
kudos,
well.
35 points, 11 rebounds, just for the record. He has 4 double-doubles in his career.
All came this season, too.
All come this season. 3 have come since Cole went down.
Yep.
He's at 18.2 points, just under 10 rebounds, shooting 54% since Cole went out.
Can't really
shift back into today.
Yeah.
There are a lot of different ways that you can spell ugly. 0 for 15 from the floor. That was ugly. They didn't hit a field goal till 6:49 left in the first half. And then they hit 13 out of 19 in the stretch. So you start seeing, okay, well, their law of averages are kicking in, and these guys are actually getting and hitting shots, but then they didn't get it done on the defensive end, Jacob.
Nope.
That's the thing. So many people are going to focus on 0 for 15.
Oh, absolutely.
10 dunks. Georgia Tech had 10 dunks, 14 layups, fouled 8 times at the rim, hit 18 free throws. That right there, that's 64 points.
I know.
Right at the rim, because of the rim, because of defensive deficiency, lapses, whatever you want to call it.
Yep.
And it's not just the interior guys. They didn't stop the ball. Alvarado saw whatever he wanted to see at the point. The backdoor cuts, and Roy even noted after the game, you got some older guys, B-Rob, Garrison Brooks at one point, Leaky another time, I think, beating on those.
Yeah.
Brooks, his man trailed out there, and he's beating, I think, on one. The mistakes were everywhere, passing to guys who weren't looking.
Yeah, I think
inbound from where we're standing in the spot right here, Jeremiah Francis lobbed an inbound pass into a crowd of people. It looked like a Hail Mary at the end of a football game, and it was in the middle of the half.
Yeah, I think that one you were talking about too, when hit Keeley in the back, Brooks passed. I think Carolina cut like 9 at that point.
Yeah,
too.
And Georgia Tech hit a 2 or a 3 right
Yeah,
there.
they came back
scored
and scored
immediately.
Oh, immediately after.
Because Carolina was still going that way, and Tech's going that way, and they scored. I like, in my career, and I even remember on my birthday in 1998, when Maryland had like a 32-8 run in this building, that I itemized with the bullet points each thing that Maryland did during that run. I'm a bullet point guy sometimes too, make an emphatic point about a sequence in a game. I would bullet point most of the 40 minutes of this game.
Yeah, I think you have to.
And it would be the longest piece we'd ever run at Tar Heel Illustrated. And I'd hit the bullet point key so many times on my laptop it would break, and I need a new laptop, and I just got this one a few weeks ago. It's that bad. And we're not making fun of the team.
No, not at all.
It was awful. Other than Garrison, there was nothing they did well.
No.
Yeah, they fought back some. This is Georgia Tech. What did I keep telling you throughout the game?
They keep saying Georgia Tech is bad enough to somehow lose this game. Yeah.
So that was the window of opportunity, was that Josh Passer and Georgia Tech were the team they were playing. And I'm sorry if I'm offending any Georgia Tech fans watching this, but that's the reality of it.
Exactly.
So I think this is a low point because they'd won 2 in a row. They beat UCLA. I know UCLA's not very good, but it still says UCLA across the chest.
Still a good win.
They still have athletes. You know, Jeremiah Francis is playing well. But I wrote a column. Go back to Friday. I asked Roy in the press conference yesterday when we got the news, after we got the news about Anthony Harris. I said, do you have to coach him around now?
Yep.
And he said no. And he actually today said they had a great practice yesterday, and the practice occurred after the press conference. But he sensed knew before the game that their minds weren't right. And they just never really had the right minds. And you kind of have to wonder, at what point, with all the negative things that have happened with the injuries and everything else, if these guys, if the morale was really bad. And I don't know. I mean, I think right now, after this performance,
I think it has to be.
He's going to have to coach Morale now. And I also wrote a column yesterday based on some of that. Are they near the tipping point?
It was spot on too.
And the tipping point was today, and they crashed. And this is a very difficult situation. We're going to hit on later on in this video in the third point that they're going to have to try to figure a way to climb out of.
Yeah, and speaking kind of a low point of this season for this team, I think we all saw it. Like I kind of mentioned in the first few minutes of this video with Roy Williams in his press conference today. I mean, it was funny when he came in. I think the first, I'd say minute and a half were like, is he about to cry? Like he was like sad, and then that kind of turned to anger. I saw him grit his teeth one time. I almost slam his fist on the thing, and
several times.
So. I know for me personally, and I'm talking to some other guys in the media room that's covered this team for a lot longer than I have, including yourself, that's the most angry I've ever seen Roy Williams. You said that's probably the most angry you've ever seen him in your career covering him.
I've seen him more animated.
But yeah, that was just pure frustration.
You keep asking me to tell you how many games of his I've covered and all these other things. And
I find it interesting.
I'll do it in May when I take an hour off.
A lot.
It's in the 450 range, 460, 470 games of Roy's here at Carolina that I've covered. And I've seen him angry. And I've seen him only a handful of times. Has he gone second in the press conferences at home? Pastner went first. Roy probably had to gather himself, trying to figure out what am I going to say.
Yeah, I think he did.
And he came in and he gritted the teeth.
Yeah, I've never seen that before in a press conference.
And if we weren't in there, and if he would have, who could blame him?
I mean, you can't blame him at all.
You know, I'm a guy that's gotten mad before at times. I totally identify with all that, and
you can't blame him at all.
In a way, I kind of wish he would have, just because I know that was inside him, and you can't blame him.
No, you can't.
Roy's had an amazing career, and Josh Pastner went out of his way, to his credit, to twice to say that Roy's one of the great coaches American team sports has ever seen, and I agree with that. Everybody hits a certain point. If you coach for as long as he has, you're going to have a 27-4 thing. It's 27-4.
Yeah.
You're going to have a press conference where you go in there and you have to fight with all your might to not unleash the words that are in your head, to not slam your fist down and maybe break a finger.
Yeah, and to his credit, he did a heck of a job on that.
Yeah, part, exactly. So I guess maybe if we were giving grades after this game, Roy would get an A for not doing that.
Heck of a point, yeah.
But the bigger point is that he's extremely frustrated. He's frustrated with himself. He's frustrated with his team. He kind of put it on the players a little bit more than he usually does.
Yeah, more than we've seen. Yeah.
He's always when the players win, they did the great job, and they lose, I can do a better job coaching my team. He's a gentleman. He takes care of his kids that way, but he did call them out a little bit today, and he had to.
Yeah, he did.
You can't put it totally on yourself. 0 for 15, 27-4. By the time they hit a field goal, Garrison Brooks hit a field goal, made it 30-8. He played Robbie O'Han in the first half, guys. He played Shea Rush at the 12-26 mark.
Huffman saw minutes. We haven't seen him.
Huffman saw minutes. Exactly. I mean, he tried everything in his power, but what the reality is, and we're going to hit on this here in a second. We've actually talked about this in these videos a few times.
A few times, yeah.
The answers aren't really there. And now when you've got Cole Anthony in street clothes, you've got Harris in street clothes, you've got Playtech in street clothes, and Sterling Manley ain't even here right now because he's mending from the surgery he had a couple weeks ago. And they did think Sterling was going to be a part of this team as recently as early August. No answers.
No, none at all. And AJ, I guess to kind of wrap this video all up with the third point, I mean, where does this team go from here? Because you think about it, you're a few weeks out. We talked about this in the Anthony Harris video yesterday a little bit. But you're still a few weeks out probably from Cole Anthony coming back. Carolina's got a few home games and travels to Pitt a few weekends from now. They had to. You would think at this home stretch right now, they had to get a few wins under the belt, get a little bit of momentum, and then you get Cole back, and then maybe you can make that push late into the season. I forgot what you said before the game, but if they would have come out and won these first few games here, and before Cole gets back, they could have been sitting at 4-1, 5-1 in the ACC.
Well, 3-game homestand, and then they go to Pitt again.
Exactly.
They play Pitt twice in 10 days. Pitt lost at home to Wake Forest today.
Yeah, they could have been sitting at 4-1, 5-1.
For all the bad things that have happened to this team this year, things that are out of their control like injuries, the schedule gods gave them a gift.
Absolutely,
by opening with Georgia Tech, then having Pitt, then Clemson, then a week off, and go to Pitt, all while you're trying to mend Cole Anthony.
Exactly.
Today is 4 weeks from when they realized Cole was going to be out. Okay, tomorrow is 4 weeks from the Wofford game. That's when they announced it, but they knew that Saturday morning. By the time they finish playing Pitt in 2 weeks, up at Peterson Event Center, that will be 6 weeks. The window was 4 to 6 weeks. So he should be back after the Pitt game. this was an opportunity to win 4 ACC games against not very good teams.
Yeah, even
this Carolina club can/should beat these teams. They should have beaten Georgia Tech today. Should have been ready. No excuse to lose this game. They could have been at 12-5
I know.
And 5-1 in the ACC.
Exactly.
6-game winning streak.
You get Cole back
even if it was just by a point, even if they won them all like they beat Yale, still would have been wins. Then you get Cole back, and like we were saying yesterday, you put him at the 2, you get Francis out there, Baycott gets a little bit healthier in his ankle, they start playing better, they can make a push and have a chance to get some wins against some of the upper echelon teams and get themselves into the tournament. This change, I mean, they could still be 11-6.
Yeah, they can still do it,
or
but
4-2, whatever it is. But
that's based on that performance, yeah.
Look, the club I saw today, the club I saw defensively at Gonzaga in the second half, the club I saw against Wofford, the club I saw against Ohio State, the club I saw against Michigan, and the club I saw for parts against Elon, for parts against Gardner-Webb, and go on and on and on. That club's not going to do that. No. They have to be different. They will be different when Cole comes back and he'll be playing with Francis, but there's still 3 more games.
Yeah, I know. It's still a long way out.
3 more games, and the Clemson streak's in jeopardy.
It really is. I
you can't really project forward, but if you have to be very honest with yourself, it's hard to see this team doing enough.
Yeah, based on that, based on what we've seen this year.
But it's based on a lot.
Yeah, of course, based on what we've seen throughout the year, but especially what we have just seen.
They've played well for a couple of stretches.
Yeah, they've had some moments, yeah.
So,
what do you really say?
I'm trying not to be overly. I'm like Roy. I'm adopting Roy's approach. I'm trying not to be overly negative because I know most people that watch this Carolina fans are trying to find something.
It's just at a point now where
it's not my job to butter it up or anything like that.
It's just at a point now where it's kind of hard to be super positive about this team based on what we've seen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So to answer your question is, any win this team gets moving forward right now is a good win.
Absolutely. For THIillustrated.com, I'm THI staff writer Jacob Turner. THI publisher Andrew Jones, as he always is, and you guys will be back on Wednesday for another Carolina basketball game. So, games coming heavy and fast. Carolina's going to have to figure this out if they want to get back to winning ways. But thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next one.